Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This is 50 with your host, Travis Holmes.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? No, really. Like, if you're watching me here on the YouTube video, and for all you newcomers out there, this is 50. This is my therapy. This is I just do this for myself. When you're a kid growing up, you never think you're going to get old. And then when you get old, you're like going, well, what is this? What is this? You know, all these different things. And this is just my mental outreach, out damn spot. I'm sitting there and I do several different other shows and different podcasts. And like I said, I just do this for me. And one of the articles that I was talking about in one of my other shows is about armpit. You know, the concave in your armpit, because you got lymph nodes and stuff in there. And, you know, you need to make sure that everything's right underneath your arm. As I'm lifting my arm up at home in the mirror, I see this. And this is not a good angle. Oh, yeah, it is. Look at that. What is this? This right here. And if you're not watching this on the YouTube channel, what is this flap under my arm? That was never there before. That has never been there my whole entire life. I'm squeezing it. And I remember there was a thing in elementary school. I think it was elementary school. It was a body fat percentage thing. And it was this like plastic clamper that they put on right above your elbow, and they clamp on and go, oh, well, you got 36% body fat. Well, that's not good. I remember one kid had like 10, 9. Like the Spanish kids always had like under 10. Those big fat white kids, we had like 27, 28. I think I had 37% body fat. That's not good. And the one thing that stuck out in my mind, this is the funniest part. There was a girl, her name was Shane Cook. And female, she's a female girl. And she came up to me, I think we were in like third grade or something like that. And she said, I've got the same amount of body fat that you do. And I'm looking at her, I'm like going, yeah, but you're a big fat cow. Am I that big compared to you? That's in third grade, right? How shallow am I already? And I'm sitting there pinching, and I showed my wife this. Actually, my wife, she did this in the kitchen this morning, actually. You can see it right there. Look at that. She puts her hand out like that. And my wife's 7 years younger than I am. And she puts her hand out like that. And I put my hand out like that and I wave to her like this. I go, hey. She's like, don't make me wave to you. I said, babe, no, look at mine. Look at mine. Look at it. If you're watching this on the YouTube video, I've never had that before. And the reason why I said I've never had that before, I have always been a very physical person. I have, through my career growing up and stuff, I told you I used to be on the Orlando Magic practice team. I was always in the gym. I've always, been physically active, whether it be walking, running, playing basketball, going to the gym all the time, and just trying to keep myself fit and toned and stuff. And now, I'm married. We just celebrated 11 years, my wife and I, thank you very much. And I really haven't been going to the gym in the last 4 years. It takes 4 years to go from, what is it? What, biceps, triceps? What's that big muscle, right? That big knot right there. 4 years to go from this to this? 4 years. So I told my wife, I said, we're getting into the summer months. And, you guys, I'm still doing my 4 mile walk. My legs are fine. Now my inner legs are a little fatty. I'm not gonna pull that out for you, lady. So calm down. But the tops of my legs and my buttocks is very firm. I've always had a nice ass, by the way. Ask my wife. And I said to my wife, I said, I've been doing 4 miles every day, just about every day, at least 5 times a week. And I said, I don't think I can take another hot month or a hot summer going out there and walking. I said, I'm going to join Planet Fitness. Now, for those of you who don't know where we live, we live just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, a little town called Marshville, and we're probably about 26 miles from a Planet Fitness. Yeah, it's a long way. So it would take me, 35 minutes to get there, work out for an hour, another 35 minutes to come home. That's 2 hours out of the day. I got to get up at the crack of dawn. I can't do that. My body won't let me do that. So we'll see. This is May. This is the middle of May. This is May 16th. So, and it's already hot. Like this weekend, my wife's like going, what are we doing this weekend? I said, well, I don't know. She's like, oh, it's going to be 92 this weekend. I said, oh, that's hot. And I'm from Florida. I'm from Florida. And I'm like, oh, that's hot. So, I'm going to join the gym. Just to get a little bit more active. Because without me walking the 4 miles every day, I might put on 2,000 steps a day. And that's going from the studio here down into the garage, across the sun deck there, up into the back porch deck, wraparound deck, and then into the house. And then back into, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I might put 2,000 steps in a day if I don't go walking. And what is 4 miles with steps? Is that 16? 17,000? I don't know. You guys know. I had a guy came over and I asked for him to come over first of all. Now that I'm back on Facebook, and I'll dive into that here in just one sec. Now that I'm back on Facebook, I don't have a whole lot of friends, quote unquote friends on Facebook. I approach my personal page as of my business pages different. And it's funny because my personal page, I have like 110 people. I got rid of all my family members. Nope, they're not following me. I don't want to listen to their bullshit. I don't want them to know what's going on. You weren't anywhere near my life in the last 20 years. I don't care about you. I don't care. There's no need for you to peek behind the curtain right now. And then I have like high school friends and then a couple people that I liked on Facebook that I refollow because I enjoyed their conversations. They're smart people. But I fell for an ad. I say fall for an ad. I saw an ad for Windows. We'll come out and give you an estimate and then prices and stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, we need new Windows. Not really, but we do. And I'll dive into. The guy actually showed up, and then the conversation I had with him. He was a younger guy, and I guess the values are a little bit different compared to what my time and his time is. So I'll dive in that when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. I was thinking about it the other day that I need a hobby. This is before the arm the arm fatty issue. I was thinking to myself the other day, I'm like, I need a hobby. I need something to get me out of the house. Because I literally am here 7 days a week other than when I go grocery shopping on Friday. I'm here 7 days a week. I do, as you guys know or don't know, I do 4 different podcasts. Each one's a different theme. Everything's different. I got people that come into the studio and we do a show and then they leave and they pay me to edit it and do all blah, 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 blah. All the other thing. If you're watching us on the YouTube video at This Is 50 show, you can see all the banners behind me. Those are all the different shows that I do. And they're all done right out of this studio. So I get, and my wife works off campus 3 days a week, and then she's here. It's Friday, and we do the show every Friday about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, depending on when I get things done in the house. And my wife's home today, so Monday and Friday she's here. But the rest of the week she's in Charlotte. So I'm here by myself with my dad. Huh? Dad, huh? Close your mouth, catch the flies. So I said, you know what? When I was like 16, 17 years old, I was actually probably 15 because I knew the girl that I was dating when I was 15, my first quote unquote real girlfriend. And, where the parents accepted it type stuff. Oh, are you going over to, Vanessa's house? That type stuff. She was on a bowling league, like a youth bowling league. And because I'm, the new boyfriend and stuff, she's like, oh, you should try out for bowling or, come bowl with me. I bowl on Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm like, all right, I'll come. And come to find out, I had a hand-me-down bowling ball from her dad, who was a bowling coach. And I found out that I had a natural talent for bowling. And you're like going, there's no natural talent for bowling. No, there is. There is. You have to have somewhat of a talent for bowling, especially at 15, 16 years old. And, to understand the concept of, the boards and physics and, you don't need to chuck the ball down there. It's all about the angles and how pins bounce off each other and how you're supposed to clear the rack and all that stuff. All the terms I learned. Short oil, long oil, turkeys, Brooklyn, split 10, 5, and all that other stuff. So I did this for a year during the time that I was dating the girl at the time, whose father was a bowling coach. And within about 6 to 8 months, he goes, you know what? If you keep this up, kid, you could go pro. You could go pro by 18 years old. Well, he had big pie dreams in the sky, and I had things that I wanted to do. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, I'll do best I can. There was one tournament, it was bowl against the pros, and I beat every one of the pros. They weren't the best in the world. Or they were just like, hey, you can't beat these kids that are 16 years old, so don't play your best game. They were bowling I think 225, 265 or something like that. And I was throwing 270s, 280s, 290s, the high 200s. And one of the guys got upset with me. One of the pros got upset with me. Fucking kid. So fast forward, and then, of course, I broke up with a girl, and I quit the whole bowling thing. But I was like, you know what? I'm still good at it. Later on in life, I pick up a bowling ball now and then and throw it down there. And I had a nice one that was fingertip for me. I had one that was weighted exactly for my format and my approach and everything. And I still had that ball. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to get out and do something. I need a hobby. Instead of sitting behind this microphone 4 days a week and then going inside and doing nothing for all day long. I mean, I do stuff, but not 16,000 steps a day. And I go, well, let's go bowling. Let me. What if I was to start bowling again? So I'm like, all right, let's find a bowling lane around this area. And that one's 37 miles away. But if I'm going to be there for a couple hours, it might be beneficial. And then I started, this is what killed me. Then I started watching shit on TikTok. And I'm watching these kids that are, at the time when I started, 16, 18 years old, just doing ungodly amount of damage to these pins. I mean, they're picking up the 7-10-8 split or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called now, where there's 2 pins on one side and 1 pin on the other side, and they're just banging them. Bam, bang, bang, bing, bing. And I was like going, first of all, let me explain something. This is how good I was. I never left the splits. But if you leave the splits, and to be able to pick that up, that's another step on the ladder as far as being professional. But for me, I never really left splits. The way my ball crunched into the pocket, everyone's going, all right, it's bowling talk. Get on with it. Get on with the funny, fat boy. I never left splits, so I never really had to practice doing the splits. And I'm watching these kids, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, picking up these ungodly sets that they've left themselves. And I go, nope, I'm out. Not doing it. I don't have the time or the patience to sit there and learn how to pick up splits, but that went right down the tubes. And my mind started going, okay, now it's getting in the hot months. Let's go to Planet Fitness and pay the $15 for the basic thing now. I know. What was it, $10 at one time? I had my neighbor text me. We're on a group text now, neighborhood chat. And it's just my wife and I and him and his wife. If you don't know the story about my neighbor, they're a little different than we are. They are very religious. They have 6 kids. They're almost kind of like not Mormonish, not Amish. They're very, very faith-based family. So I get a group text, and I've been doing, the proms and stuff over there because I've got, the live equipment and stuff. And text me, say, hey, you can say no because I'm going to. But we have a prom coming up at in the middle of May. I said, okay. I said, give me 1 second. Let me check my calendar. And I go through my calendar of all the stuff I got going on. I'm like going, what day is it? And he's like, it's a Friday. And I go, Friday? Fuck. Friday's my day. Friday's what I do here. This is why, fast forward to now, this is why I didn't do a show last week, because I was at this fucking prom. But let me explain something to you. So I'm sitting there going, okay, fine, Friday. You're going to eat up the one day that I get to spend an evening with my wife. Okay, she'll come over and we'll do all that stuff. So I said, sure, fine, no problem. I've got nothing planned as of now. So that was like the first week of March. So May 1st comes around. And where am I at on time here? Why do I have two of them open? May 1st comes around. My wife goes, have you heard anything from the neighbors? Nope. A couple days go by. Have you heard anything? I said, no. I said, other than that one text message I got at the beginning of March, I said, I haven't heard anything at all. Huh. She's like, that's strange. I go, yeah, that's kind of strange. Normally we'll see each other in passing or whatever. And then it's like 2 days before the prom or the dance or whatever I'm supposed to do on Friday. Friday, which is a weird day. Normally it's a Saturday. And I'm like, all right, well, nothing yet. So then my mind starts racing. My mind starts going, normally they're clearing out the 42 by 42 wood shop shed that they built. It's a huge facility that they put on their property. And I'm like going, I really don't hear anything going on. So I'm going to take a quick little break and I'll tell you where my mind went to. Because I was like, you guys setting me up for something? So stick around. I'll be right back. I do it right? There we go. So, like I said, if you're new to the show, this podcast basically is just my therapy, just to get stuff out of my head, out of my skull, the things that go on, the things I can talk about based on my version of what happened and not get my wife's input. My wife, love her to death. We are total opposites as far as the way we approach things. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background with her horses and stuff, and the way she approaches it and the way I approach it. Mine has a light at the end of the tunnel. Hers is like, this is it, this is the end, and all that stuff. So you can tell that there's a difference as far as the way we view things. So, but every Friday I go for I go grocery shopping. It's the only one big day that I get out of the house, and I food shop for the week. We have no technically restaurants around here. We don't have any fast food around here. We have, DoorDash barely comes out here, and our options are basically the stuff that's within 8 miles of us, which is like Wendy's. I think there's a Subway somewhere around us, Bojangles, and then there's a couple mom and pop places, but I don't know if those travel too well. So everything we make, everything that I buy for grocery shopping, we make it. It's meal planning for the rest of the week. Breakfast, we have chickens here, so we have eggs. That's no problem. We get grits, toast, sandwich meat, lunch meat, and then, big dinners, big casseroles, and things like that for dinner. So one of the things that we have, or that I like to do, is I like to keep my bathroom clean. And you're like going, well, isn't it like you and your wife's bathroom? No. We do have the Jack and Jill sink, but I have my own toilet. It's a water closet. That's what a water closet is. I have my own toilet, and I like to keep that clean. My wife will use mine sometimes, but she's got a half bath just down the hallway from the main bedroom there that she uses all the time. She sometimes gets ready in there. And girls, I'm sorry, you can say how disgusting men are. You ladies are just as disgusting. With hairspray and everything stuck to the walls and hair all over the place and stuck to the, everything just sticks. Everything's got like a tacky, sticky film. We might not be the cleanest as far as that, but I like to keep my bathroom clean. One of the things that I like to do, she hates it for whatever reason. She's like, it looks like a truck stop. I put in the tablets in the tank of my tank. Because we are on a well. Now, our well water's really, really good. We don't have like rust or anything like that. And it doesn't smell like rotten eggs or anything. We have a really, really good tap. Aquifer, if you may. But just to keep the toilet itself clean, I like to throw in a tablet. And I'll buy, me trying to save money, I'll buy the cheapest ones. You know, $2 for 6 of them or something like that. I think it's just blue food coloring on a hockey puck. You can just throw it in there. Hey, it must be clean and it's blue. You know, that type deal. Then I was like, you know what? This one says, and it caught my eye, and it says, cleans your toilet for 8 months. 8 months? How many tablets are in there? 2? I can do, that's 16 months. Because my wife doesn't want it in her bathroom. And, you know, guys, we're wrecking the toilet. Anyways, I said, oh, how much is it? Oh, man, $7 for 2. For 2. That's $3.50 a piece almost. Do the math on that one. So I said, you know what? If it says 8 months, cleans the toilet for 8 months, I'll buy it. God damn it. God damn it, I'll buy it. Bought it, threw it in there. And, you know, you flush it a couple times to see if it works. And for 2 months straight, that water was crystal clean. And I say the water, the toilet itself, and all the remnants around it, you know, there was nothing, quote unquote, ladies, sticking to the backside. You know what I mean? You know, those Tijuana blowouts that you get now and then. I know. Whoa. And then this month, let's see, what's this? 5. May is number 5, right? I bought this in February. And I started to see that water getting a little translucent. Not as blue as it used to be. And I go, all right, I don't know. Sure enough, I go in there today and I lift the tank or the lid off the tank and I look down inside. There's nothing in there. Nothing at all. It's gone. 8 months, my ass. 8 months. What, if you flush once a month? Once a week or something like that? This is a main bathroom. Now, I didn't, God, you know, I did not read the instructions on it to say this is on a bathroom that's an average flush of, you know, twice a day, blah, 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 and it's not a high usage. It's a, guest bathroom or whatever. It doesn't say a high usage bathroom. But who do I complain? Do I call I think it was like, what is it? Finish? I don't know. One of those toilets. It's not Tidy Bowl. I tried them. They suck. That's the blue dye on the tablet. And I was like, well, who do I complain to? Do I write a letter to someone? Dear Mr. Toilet Bowl Inserter Company, I am a 52-year-old man who has regular movements on a daily basis. Sometimes the movements are number 1. Sometimes the movements are number 2. More number 2 than number 1. So I depend on a excellent service from your cleaning product to effectively tidy my bowl, for lack of a better term. Loves and kisses, hearts and prayers, Travis. P.S. Keep up the good work, or something like that. But I was like going, God, man, I just spent, I don't know. I was so defeated. I was like, I thought it was going to last 8 months. But that's the scam they were running. The scam that I think my neighbors were running. I say scam. So I told you that they wanted me to do a prom dance or whatever, because they're all the kids are all homeschooled. So all these kids get together and it's like watching, it literally is watching like an Amish farm dance or something. It's just weird. It's so fucking weird. Like all the songs can't have anything to deal with sex, not love, but I'm gonna rub my body up and down you. Think of all the 1980s songs that came out in every movie. Highway to the Danger Zone. All those songs is their playlist. And then all the line dancing stuff. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap, clap. Right foot, left foot. And then all the line dancing songs, because they know that they're not violent. They're not putting evil thoughts, quote unquote, evil thoughts. I told you they're very religious based people. So I said, and I've learned my lesson. I said, as long as you guys have a playlist, I will sit there and just monitor the soundboard. If you need me to change the song, I'm not talking on the microphone. I'm not going to be your quote-unquote MC. Hey, coming around. Everyone in the circle. Everyone do this. I'm not doing that. You have to pay me a lot of money to do that. A lot of money to do that. So they understood that, and they normally take up a collection because it's a church-based group. And I get a couple $100 to do 5 hours or something like that, something stupid. And I always drink. I drink all the time while I'm there. I hide it from the kids. I always, I've got up my little cooler outside the door, and I walk outside and fill up I don't have my daddy cup up here. My little daddy cup, pour a couple beers in there, and I'll sit there and drink that, and that takes about a half hour, and then go back out and fill it up. This time, well, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this time, this prom or dance or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I didn't hear anything until day of. So like the day before, I'm like going again to my wife, hey, I haven't heard anything about this dance. Am I still doing the dance? She's like, why don't you text them? I said, no, they're the ones that hired me or want me to be there. They need to give me the details. So I got to thinking. I got to drinking and I got to thinking. I'm like, what if this is a ruse? What if this is my intervention? What if this is, yeah, Travis, come on over. We're going to put on a prom dance for everybody. Bring your equipment. And we will have a quote unquote party for all the kids and stuff. And I literally went down the spiral like going, well, I don't hear anything. I don't hear any kids over there doing anything because normally they sweep and clean up the garage, which is his workshop. Woodworking, I don't hear any blowers. I don't hear any vacuuming. I don't hear anything going on. I don't see kids running in and out of this, 42 by 42 metal building that's 2 stories tall. I don't hear anything. I'm like, this is it. I've reached my point. I've reached my peak. I've reached my potential as far as, being a somewhat of a human that drinks beer every day. I was like, this is my intervention. This is it. This is what's happening. So my mind got so spun out of control the night before, Thursday night before the quote unquote intervention / prom dance. I'm driving the side by side around the front yard. Now the house sits on about 2 acres and the whole entire property is 22 acres. And you can see me out there and I've got a tank sprayer on the back and I just go, my wife's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to spray for bugs in the yard. I saw some ant mounds and stuff. So I'm just going to drive around, kind of like trying to peek around the corner of their house. I said, fuck it. An hour went by. I said, well, he's heard me. He can see me. Now's his chance to come out and say, hey, what time are you going to be here the next day for the party? So I go back inside. My wife goes, did you talk to him? Nope. In the back of my mind, I'm like going, is she in on this too? Is she in on this intervention? And my wife goes, oh, he'll probably say something to you later on. I said, okay. So Friday, again, go grocery shopping, get back home. It's like 1:30. I decided I'm going to walk over there. I'm going to, head before the snake. Cut it off right now. Walk over there and I go, hey, man. He's like, hey. And he's got his work boots on. He's trying to clean up the front yard. I'm like, oh, well, branches and stuff. I said, I kind of waved and went like 5. Like if you're watching me on the camera, I'm like 5. He goes, you'll be here at 5? And I go, no. I said, hi. What time, can I bring my stuff over? I said, give me 5 minutes. I'll bring my stuff over. Oh, okay. Yeah. I said, what time's the party going to start? Yeah, everyone will be here by 6:30. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like looking around. I don't see the chairs in the circle like you see on TV, the intervention circle. They've got lights up. They're starting to, bring out tables and banquet tables. I'm like going, God, this is a pretty big intervention. All for me? All for me? No, get over yourself, Travis. It was a normal party. It was normal. The thing was it ran late. Oh, it fucking ran 11:30 and I've been drinking since 2. And, thank God I didn't have to talk on the microphone. Thank God I didn't have to do, this and that and this and that. And my wife came over. She showed up with her glass of wine around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And when it was all done and everyone was like, all right, see you later, thank you. And they basically put a wad of money down on the mixing board there. And they're like, thank you very much. I'm like, oh, no problem. You guys are great. You're awesome. Awesome dancers. Everyone's great. And I had the cooler right next to me the whole entire time. But I had koozie around my beer so they couldn't tell what I was doing. What's he drinking, Daddy? Daddy Cokes. I went to bed that night and woke up the next morning with a fucking hangover. Normally, my cutoff time is 6:30, 7 o'clock. That's my cutoff time. Not on Friday. It's like 8:30 cutoff time. I ran it till 11:30, and I'm like, God, I can't do that anymore. I can't stay up that late chugging. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to, Travis. You could. hence my worry about the intervention. You don't have to drink all the way to 11:30. No, if I'm awake, I'm drinking something. So the intervention did not go through as planned on their part, or I don't know, maybe it was a setup, but nothing happened. When we come back, some guy's trying to sue me, and I'll tell you, it's not the Windows guy. I'll tell you what happened with him. We had a falling out, me and the guy, the Windows guy from Facebook, when I signed up for everything. So I'll talk about that when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. I'm losing friends left and right again on Facebook. Yeah, I know no wonder you only have 119 people. Nobody wants to be your friend. And I had a little breakdown with my wife about that too. She's like, well, what's wrong? And I said, yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing really. She's like, no. What's wrong? And this is, after a long day of working up here in the studio and doing all the podcasting and stuff that I do. I said, well, now that I'm on Facebook, when I had all the shows, all the podcasts underneath my umbrella, it was, my name and this is what I did. So I had, people that followed me from the entertainment show, people that were following me from the horse show, and people that were following me from the 50 show, and the people that were following me from all the other voiceovers and stuff. And it was all underneath my name on one platform. So when I got banned, something stupid on Instagram, and then I came back, I said, well, I'm going to do everything separate. I'm going to do, a page for myself, me personally, and then a page for all the other podcasts that I do underneath, like a flow chart. And that's what I should have done. She's like, okay, that's the smart thing to do. It kind of keeps everyone separated from each other. I said, yeah, but no one's reaching out to me. No one's reaching out to me to be my friend, my personal friend on Facebook. I was kind of like, she's like, well, what are you talking about? I said I had over 15,000 people between all the different shows and stuff that were following me. And now I've got 119 people on my personal page. And I was just kind of like, really? I guess I don't mean that much to people. So I was just kind of like, had this little, But I try to be as nice as possible when I'm on Facebook, on my personal page. But there's some people that I'm like, you can't be this fucking stupid. No wonder you don't have any friends. No wonder no one wants to be your friend. Well, when you sit there and you post these things that are just so one-sided, I'm all about listening to both sides. I really am. I'll listen to you all day long. But when you just sit there and you don't leave room for anyone else's other opinion, a couple of people are like, well, what about this? And what about that? And all of a sudden, dude, Laura has blocked you from your page or her page. I'm like, really? Are you that fucking narrow-minded that you can't have a decent conversation with someone? I guess not. So I was just telling my wife, I'm like going, no one's changed. No one's changed. And I probably said this before a million times. No one's changed. She's like, that's fine. People are dumb. I said, I know they are. All of them. Especially this guy. So one of the podcasts that I do every week, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, it's an entertainment podcast. basically getting you up to date on viral videos and news stories that people are talking about or will be talking about in the next couple days or so. Kind of get ahead of the thing. It's a simple little 1 hour podcast. It takes a little bit of work for me to put into because I've got to generate. I say generate. It's a turn and burn. In a 1 hour segment, we'll go through like 12 different stories and talk about them, and then move on and talk about them, move on. During the show, we take breaks just like we do on this one, just so I can reset and stuff, and you guys don't get bored with me talking at lengths and at any given time about one subject. During the breaks that I take on the entertainment show, which generates a lot of money for me, it is if you know the term pay per play, it's not a pay per play. They basically pay me money to put they buy airtime on the show. Let's put it that way. They buy airtime on the show, and 9 times out of 10, actually, 20 times out of 10, it's a musical artist. It's a musical artist, and I work through a brokerage company. I'll just say it's Fiverr. I work through Fiverr all the time, and they reach out, and people go over there and they're like, "Oh, hey, I want to have my song played. I want to have this. I want to have that." And I'm like, "Fine, no problem. This is our standard package or deluxe package," and everyone agrees. And I got millions and millions of stars. Everything's good. And then they say, "Is this organic or do you use bots?" I'm like, I don't have the time or the patience or the knowledge to use bots. I don't do any of that stuff. I said I do hire a third party to push the actual show out to other people. And I've checked it. They're not using bots. They use like Google Sense or all that stuff. And I'm getting, a bigger audience that comes in, tenfold over and over and over and over again. It does cost a little bit for me to do that. But in the same sense, you're paying me to put your name, your title, your song on my show. So with that being said, this one guy who was a struggling podcaster, I listened to his show. It's fucking horrible. It's horrible. It's basically, hey, remember that one time that band came to town? Yeah, that was really cool. My friend Johnny, I know you don't know him, but my friend Johnny said that he saw the lead singer in the bathroom, and he said to him, the lead singer of the band, you make good music. And the lead singer gave him a thumbs up. My friend Johnny said that was really cool. Have I lost you? That was his show. Oh, man, remember the one time that the song was playing on the radio? Yeah. And it was just him. It's just him. I'm like, oh, God damn, your fucking show sucks. Now, people could say that about me, but I beg to differ. With over 50,000 downloads in a month's time, I beg to differ on that. So anyways, this guy is a musician. Now, a lot of musicians think their music is the best. They put a lot of work into it. They put a lot of effort into it. And I agree. I believe that you think your music's the best. I will listen to it, and my taste of music, out the door. I still have my own favorites, but I don't judge everyone else's music based on what I like to hear. I like to hear, like a lot of people our age now that's over 50 years old, I just like to hear something good. I like to hear something that's done well. As far as the lyrics and the sounds and all that stuff, I don't care. As long as it's done well, it's got a nice, production value to it. You could be speaking in Chinese. I don't care. If it sounds good and it's done well and you can feel that there's soul into it, more power to you. There's a lot of people out there that money is a kind of a factor in that. They don't have a whole lot of money for production. They don't have a whole lot of money to do all this stuff. So when they come across my page and they ask me to promote their song, yes, I will, by all means, because I know what that level feels like. So this gentleman comes by and he's like, hey, I'd like to promote this song. I'd like to get some, more feelers out there. And what I'm finding out is if you're on Spotify, if you have a song on Spotify, Spotify pays the most per clicks. So if that's all they care about. If you've got that kind of attitude, that's horrible to have. To say, I want to produce a song so I can get the most clicks so I can make money for my song. Instead of going out there and getting your band signed, and start doing live shows, they don't want to leave the house. They want to just sit there in front of the computer or in front of whatever and just have the money come in toward, for them. So this one guy sent me a song, the podcaster, shitty podcaster guy, sent me a song, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, yep, here we go. Here's another one. Thinks he's God's gift to music. So I play it on the show. He gets a big response. He gets a little push on the Spotify. He's like, yeah, my views and my downloads went up, 2,500 in the last month. I'm like, great. And they probably got another $4 or $5 out of that. So he does another song. And then he does another song with me. And then he does, hold on, my thing's out of focus here. And then he buys another song from me. I say buy another song. Wants me to promote another song. I think it was a total like 4 songs. I said, great. And he only does like one show. One show, so over a 4-month time, 4 shows. He reaches out to me the other day. I say the other day, last month. My one song got taken down off Spotify. Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that. What happened? They said that bots were downloading my song and they can't have, fake streaming services or fake downloads with my song. I said, okay. I don't know what that involves me. He goes, at the time that song was coming out, you were the only one I was doing promotions for. Or promotions with. I said, okay. What did you do before me? Well, I hired some other guy and some other guy to do this and all that. I said, do you think it's from them? Because I don't use any bots at all for downloads or anything like that. I use, real live people to do real live things for me. That's how I've been successful. I do the research. I know exactly who I'm dealing with. No, you were the only one that I was using. I'm pissed off. I want half my money back. I'm like, well, bud, I did my part. You paid me. It's like eating the meal and say, no, I want my money back. I didn't like it. Tough shit, Well, I'm not happy. I'm gonna report you to Fiverr. All right, fine. Go ahead. See you later. Good luck with that. So I get a message from Fiverr. Hey, Mr. Travis Holmes. It seems like, actually, they're Indian. So it's like, Mr. Travis Holmes, it seems like that Russell is not happy with you. Do you think, do you need to talk? We can intervene and make sure that we're the moderator between between the two of you. I'm like, nope, not needed. I did his order. He's done. So then a week later, he goes, I'm going to fucking sue you. You're ripping people off. You're ripping all this other stuff. I'm taking you to court. I'm doing all this stuff, and you are going to pay me the whatever fee that it was. I'm going to report you because I've lost money for the song being taken down and the money I paid you and yada, 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 yada. I said, Jesus Christ, guy, relax. And this is all typing. There's no verbal. There's no nothing other than my show itself. That's the only time you hear my voice. Writes back again. I filed a lawsuit against you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like going, all right, first of all, now I'm not upset. I'm getting kind of pissed. And so I'm like going, well, how would someone file a lawsuit for a freelancer doing something and then them accusing them without any proof as far as, getting a song taken down because they think that they're using bots to generate fake downloads? So, of course, I turned to the only one smart attorney that I know, ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, hey, buddy, how legit can this be? And I'm typing it in, and I copy and paste his reply. And ChatGPT goes, basically, sounds like he's, after the math, he's pissed off. It sounds like a knee-jerk reaction. It's all emotional. He goes, and the ChatGPT goes, I say he, like he's a friend of mine, like we have drinks and stuff later on after the show. He says, but if he wanted to, he could take you to civil court and sue for damages or loss of money or whatever like that. I said, well, what would that take? Well, first, they'd have to find your name. They'd have to find your address. They'd have to find out where you live. I'm like going, this guy's in like north, south, east Dakota somewhere. And I'm in, well, I don't want to say where I'm at. Well, I've already said it. But anyways, ChatGPT says, I wouldn't worry about it, but there's always a but. And I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking to myself, well, Suing for how much? How much money did he make? And I said, is this going to be like for $100, $200? Why would he even bother? Why would he? It takes $150 just to actually file the suit. So anyways, I'll let you know as that rolls around what's going to happen there. When we come back, I'll tell you the argument and the thing that happened with Marvin Windows and the representative that came out to my house. Tell me if I'm in the wrong. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? So stick around. I'll be right back. So I told you I'm back on Facebook. And because I have no friends, and my friends that I have, the 119 friends that I have on Facebook, they don't post a whole lot. And when they do, it's always, they get kind of political, and that's where I lose, down to 117. Now, This Is 50 does have a Facebook page. This Is 50, I post a lot of stuff that has to deal with being 50 years old. It's not a bias thing. It's not me just saying, kids should stay off the sidewalk, that type of stuff. It's stuff that happens during the show and anything that I think is valuable to being over the age of 50 for the first time. Not like it's going to happen again, right? I don't know. So on my personal Facebook page, I'm getting a lot of sponsored ads. Delete, why, irrelevant. Delete, why, irrelevant. Delete, why, if I could say it again, irrelevant. And if you do that, that'll never show up again. Somewhere, somehow, of course, someone was listening to me on whatever microphone I had open at the time I was talking about it. We were talking about windows and getting, I need new windows for the front of the house and so on and so forth. So, signed up, Marvin Windows. What the fuck is a Marvin window? Typed it in. Our windows are highly rated #1 in the Southeast United States. Our windows are a little bit more expensive, but we guarantee that, this and that, and our cost is a little bit more, but our windows are a lot better, and so-and-so, and blah, 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 call now, sign up now, schedule now, that deal. I'm like, all right, let me just see. I've already had Anderson Window come out. Fuck them. They were, the guy was like going, hey, you want my windows? No? All right, fuck. These are a dime a dozen. You throw a dart at the wall so many times, you're going to hit it, right? I had some contractor guy come out and he's like, oh, I could do this and do that. And I'm like going, dude, this is all I want. You're getting too big for my project that I want. And the project that I want, I've got 2 windows on the front of the house by my wife's office. And they're 51 wide and 72 inches tall. They're big windows, big open double jalousie or whatever, where they both slide up and down. The windowsill outside is rotten out, and that rotten out because we have siding on the house. What is it? Rough siding, cedar, cypress, something. I don't know what it is. Wood. It's getting down inside. I'm like, I got to replace these 2 windows. Let's see how much it is to replace all the windows so they all match on the front of the house. So Anderson came out and was like going, hey, you want these windows? No? All right, fuck you. I'm out of here. See you. And he takes off. I had Marvin come out. And Marvin Windows came out. Guy by the name of Nicholas or something like that. I forget what his fucking name is. Comes out. Sits inside. I just got back from our 4-mile walk. Comes in the house about 10 o'clock. I'm sitting there I got to make something. I've been doing avocado toast and tomatoes with an egg on top. I'm like, dude, hey, man, sit right down. Let me cool off a little bit. Let me eat this. And we can chit-chat right here in the kitchen. Big island and, the cooktop in the middle, and we're sitting there talking. Could not crack a smile on him. Could not crack any. He was business. A young guy, probably 31, 32 years old. Might have been military. He's got some tattoos, but they're hidden up underneath his arm. But you could tell they're not like, they're tattoos that meant stuff. Like it went all the way around his arm. You see this little guy right here? He had one right there too. So he might have had some military tattoos or something like that. They always say if you get a tattoo, get it to where, you don't have to show the world. Talked for a while, went around for a little bit, and came right down to it. We were going to do 6 windows and the back French doors. I said, all right, so what's the damage? How much is that? And he was like, well, we do, if you go up to $15,000, we give you 10% off. If you go up to $20,000, we'll give you 15% off. And if you get up to $30,000, we'll give you 20% off. He goes, we don't do any buy one, get one or anything like that. And I said, all right, fine. I said, so what's the damage? He goes, well, it's with the windows, the 6 windows and the French doors, it's $30,000, $31,000, $32,000. With the discount, it's $25,600 or something like that. And I said, okay, fine. He goes, now I'm not in a, how did he phrase it? He goes, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to force you to buy it now. He goes, I'll give you a text message in 3 days. He came over on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. He goes, I'll give you a text message or call you within 3 days. And if you agree to that, then within that 3 days, we'll give you an extra 5% off. He goes, if you don't, then we'll just go whatever plan you decide on going through. 12 months interest free through Truist Bank. And, I got the whole spiel. Wasn't very pressured, no pressure, no nothing. He was very nice, very cool gentleman. And he was there for like an hour and a half, and at an hour and 15, I'm like, okay, I got to start my day, man. I got it all. So we go out there to his car. He's got a piece of like secondhand Prius, but that might be his work car. I don't know. Like the fender's falling off, the tires are bald, that type deal. But he's got all the samples in the back of his car. I know, I'm very judgy, right? My wife tells me that all the time. He goes, hey, good to talk to you. You'll see a text message by Thursday. You'll hear something from me. Okay, fine. Here we go. My wife goes, how much were the windows when she comes home that evening? I said, no, I wasn't that hammered. Had a little buzz going. I go, I said it's $26,000, babe. She said, for what? I said the 6 windows and the French door. $26,000? I said, no, it's 24. Did I say 26? No, it's $24,000. 24? I said, yeah. No, she's like, nope, we're not paying that. I go, I know we're not going to pay that. I said, we could take half of that and fix the 2 windows that actually need to be fixed. You could take a third of that and fix the 2 windows that actually need to be fixed. And I said the French door, the only thing wrong with the French door is that the seal's broken inside. So it's a little foggy and glassy, or the glass is a little foggy inside. Because the sun when sun rises in the east, it beats right on that thing. And that's what happens. Shrink, swell, foggy windows. She's like, no, me and you can replace the French doors. I said, I know we can. She's like, and we can hire someone to do the front windows. I said, I know we can. She's like, then that's it. When are you going to tell him that we don't want his thing? I said, well, I want to hear what he has to say on Thursday. Maybe he'll drop the price a little bit more. She's like, really? I said, yeah, because if he drops it a little bit more, if it's 12 months interest free on, a lesser price, I said, I'll buy them. I'll have the other shows, the other shows pay for it. What's that, $1,000 something a month? We could swing that here on the all the podcasts and stuff that I do. I could swing that. That's no problem. She's like, all right, I'll leave it up to you. This is you had him come out and you do what you want. Thursday comes around. And I'm working, I'm doing my thing, I'm cleaning up some stuff. I'm doing some editing here and doing some social medias and stuff for all the different shows. And I'm vacuuming the house. I'm getting the bathroom ready because we're remodeling the bathroom and sweeping up stuff and kind of plan of attack. All right, we're going to do shiplap here. I got to rip up this tile here. I'm doing it. I'm doing it all. I'm in and out. I'm out. I'm in. I'm over and down, up and down. 5:30 rolls around. I get nothing. It's 5:30 in the evening on Thursday. It's 5 o'clock on a Saturday. 5:30 on a Thursday. I still haven't heard from the Marvin guy. So when my wife comes home at 6:35, she's like, what the fuck's going on? I think I got a song there somewhere. So I text the guy. Hey, man, it's 6:30. I haven't heard from you all day. Well, I'm at a golf tournament for whatever charity that he's fucking made up or whatever. He's like, and Thursday's not over yet. It's not midnight on Thursday. And I said, okay. Okay, really? I said, well, that's not very good business practices. I said, what if I was ready to buy at 9 o'clock Thursday morning and now it's 5:30? I'm not ready to buy anymore. I thought you forgot about me. I said, this is not good customer service. He says, he said something about, well, end of working day, business day, technically is around 7:30 for most people. And I said, I'm not most people. I'm your customer. I'm the guy that I'm buying stuff from you. I get a response back, and I deleted the thing because I was like, I'm not listening to him anymore. I don't know if he's had drinks being on this golf tournament. I know I've had some drinks, but I was being as polite as possible because I know I could be a little forked tongue in there. And he goes, it sounds like someone's had a bad day. Have you had a bad day and you're taking it out on me? And I go, really? Is that the answer that you want to give me right now at this point where I'm getting ready to drop $24,000 on Windows? You're telling me, have I had a bad day when I'm saying, hey, I'm looking for you to call me at a reasonable hour or text me at a reasonable hour on a Thursday about spending $24,000, $25,000 with you? Am I having a bad day? I'll call you or text you when I'm done with the tournament. We should be wrapping up here by 8 o'clock. I said, no, I'm good. See you later. Sorry. Well, sir, Travis, I apologize, but, technically, and he started getting all this. I said, dude, so my wife, what happened? Nah, nothing. Nothing. Now, am I wrong? Is that wrong? What's a reasonable time for him to respond? What's a reasonable time for him to say, hey, I'll text you by, and he even said, I could have sworn, this is what pisses me off. You'll get a text message from me Thursday morning, around Thursday morning, just to follow up on what we discussed today. So in my mind, on Thursday, I'm waiting for a phone call, something, before I can start my day at noon. When I say start my day at noon, you guys know what I mean. Intervention. So, am I wrong? Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole in this situation? Now, you can say, well, you weren't going to spend the money anyways. No, I wasn't going to spend the money anyways. I could have just let it go and gone on. But if I would have let it go, would he have called me and texted me Thursday at all? At all. Anyways. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to me work all this stuff out. I'll talk to you later. See you, bye. See you later.